think Scott Parker has shown decent consistency. But I think it's up top where the manager will believe his fortunes could well change. I think Alan and Shearer have already shown enough as a partnership to suggest that they could yet rescue Newcastle's season.
The left-back position at Arsenal seems to be cursed, with Cole and Clichy recovering from long-term injuries. Pascal Sigan, who's been playing there in recent weeks, is now also out injured. He joins a list of casualties that includes Reyes and Bergkamp, as Arsene Wenger makes 2 changes from their last league game against Bolton. Philip Senderos and Alexander Hleb are the incoming players. And Brian, there's a shuffle around in defence.
Very much so, but it's this poor away form, Alan, that's hurting Arsenal at the moment. 5 points away from home compared to Chelsea's 16 is a chilling statistic. They've certainly missed the presence of a natural left-back, and they've had to make changes there again today. But you have to say there's enough experience in this team to have done better than they have away from Highbury. I think one of the biggest issues Arsenal are facing, Alan, is that they've become far too dependent on their centre-forward. I think Van Persie and Fabregas have shown signs of playing to a high level, but this team need 1 or 2 more individuals to raise their game.
Well, this is a club that never seems far away from a crisis. 5 managers in the last 8 years have tried and failed to give these fanatical fans what they want, and that, of course, is success. And it has to remain one of the great mysteries of English football that a club as big as Newcastle has failed to win any domestic trophy for an incredible 50 years. Brian, you live in this part of the world, you mix with Newcastle fans. What's their mood like at the moment?
Oh, somber. Very, very somber. I mean, that's probably an understatement. They know they're capable of better. They've had a lot of disappointments over the years, the fans. I think when you speak to the players and the manager, you know, there's a great belief that they can turn things around. They need to turn things around. Expectations are high, but they need to start quickly. These players that you can see on that left-hand side are far, far better than what their results suggest. But that counts for nothing. You need to get points on the board.
And the storm clouds are gathering once again over Tyneside. Newcastle sliding back down the table, and their manager is under pressure. But despite their problems, they remain a very difficult team to beat here at St James's Park. And Arsenal, as you've heard, have been struggling away from home this season. There's a full house. Football always gets the vote over Christmas shopping on Tyneside, and the usual terrific atmosphere as Newcastle United take on Arsenal.
Just about set to go at St James's Park. It's Newcastle against Arsenal with Brian Marwood and Alan Parry.
Well, it was a huge relief for everyone at Newcastle when Michael Owen came through his fitness test. When Owen has played this season, Newcastle have taken 13 out of the 18 points available. Of course, Alan Shearer is still waiting to be crowned as Newcastle's greatest ever goal scorer. He needs 3 more to beat Jackie Milburn's club record of 200 goals. But Thierry Henry has already made it into Arsenal's history books, overtaking Ian Wright as their most prolific marksman when he recently scored his 186th Arsenal goal. So with those 3 on the field, a 0-0 scoreline seems pretty unlikely. But when the teams met at Highbury on the opening day of the season, the goals didn't come until the last 10 minutes. Arsenal scoring twice through Henry and Robin van Persie. And by the way, the Gunners have a terrific recent record against Newcastle. 6 wins in the last 8 meetings, and the other 2 were drawn. Newcastle United get us underway. Arsenal used to be kings of the road when it came to away games, but not anymore. All the leading teams in the Premiership have a much better away record than the Gunners this season, and that's an issue that Arsene Wenger has to address urgently if they're to make a credible challenge for the league title. And takes a tumble, and the referee gives the first free kick of the game. The man in charge today is Dermot Gallagher.
It was a generous one. I mean, we just did enough to poke the ball away from Freddie Ljungberg. Very interesting to see if Newcastle adopt a more positive approach in respect of getting the ball forward early to Alan Shearer and try and muscle their way through at times. Something that Bolton did. reasonably successfully last week against them.
There's been a lot of criticism of the central defensive partnership for Newcastle of Bramble and Boomsong. Graham Souness has loyally stuck by both of them again today. Not that he has that many options at the moment, it has to be said. And they're under pressure straight away as Henry delivers the ball down the left, but for once gets it wrong. Lauren playing at left back today. Toure switched over from the centre of defence to the right. Senderos coming in the middle, and sometimes when you make that many defensive changes, Brian, it can unsettle the team.
Yeah, I think the easy one would have been just to replace the left back 1-for-1, but Arsene Wenger feels that maybe he just needs a little bit more power. So I can understand the inclusion of Senderos. He's still young, but he's very competitive, and maybe they've just missed that away from home this season.
Solano going in hard, and did enough. Parker couldn't reach the loose ball. Ljungberg on the attack for Arsenal. They'll be facing England, of course, yet again next summer for Sweden, and it was a very good ball, but Henry was just caught offside.
Just went a little bit too early, didn't he, Thierry Henry? It's going to be a very difficult angle for Ljungberg to find Henry.
Senderos with the interception. He gets it back from Toure.
I think that's going to be key. You know, whenever Gilberto and Fabregas in particular get it, that central midfield area, Andy Fye and Scott Parker really got to be foraging and working hard to win the ball back for their team. Just as we've seen there, Parker does that very well.
Shearer's downward header, finding Solano, a little crowded, but he still pokes the ball through towards Michael Owen. And the referee's whistle had gone. I think he's come back to an earlier incident because Newcastle have a player lying injured.
It's Boomsong, isn't it, that took a collision. And he's had a little bit of criticism aimed at him this season. Seems to have struggled, made some costly errors. Fairly innocuous. I think he's just a flailing arm there from Van Persie. No real intent, catching the Frenchman in the eye.
Craig Moore, the Australian international, still hasn't played for Newcastle, having joined them in the summer. Just one of a catalogue of injuries that Graham Souness has had to deal with. But as his own chairman said in his column in the programme today, fans aren't interested in players who aren't playing.
Everybody has to contend with injuries. You know, you could ask any manager up and down the country. They're always fearful of losing key players. Graham's done that, but I still think there's enough within this squad, though, to get more results than they have done.
3 games without a win at the moment. Newcastle United, that was after a run of 3 successive wins. And of course, they were also knocked out of the Carling Cup by an understrength Wigan team. Shearer claiming that Newcastle should have had a free kick there. Toure onto Gilberto. Fabregas in the middle of the field, just called up to the Spanish senior squad for the first time, by the way. They've got a pre-World Cup get-together nice and early in Madrid next week. You can escape the cold of the northeast in December. Got a bit of warmth in Madrid, and the prospect of playing for his country next summer.
I was astonished when I looked through the notes. I think he's only 18. He's already made 70 appearances, which is an incredible achievement when you think that he's playing in one of the top sides in the country.
Fye going in and winning it back, but the linesman's flag was raised. Offside decision. All these Newcastle fans thought their team were in the midst of a revival, but it has proved to be short-lived. After winning 5 out of 7 games in September and October, they've only taken 1 point from the last 3 matches, and as a result of matches played earlier today, they have slid below halfway in the table, at 12th in fact. Arsenal down to 6th, now some 16 points behind the leaders Chelsea. Solano's clearance, Gilberto picked it up and then gave it away, had to work hard to win it back. Senderos. Gilberto. Return ball not quite good enough from Van Persie, but he picks up the loose ball anyway and finds Fabregas. It's a lovely ball. Prem took a tumble right beneath the gaze of the referee and another, but there was never a question of a foul. Given away to Fabregas. Henry again. They can't clear their lines at the moment, Newcastle United. Now they will. And what a glorious ball from Alan Shearer to Owen. Obi's first touch let him down, though.
Great shame, didn't it? Good break from Newcastle. You know, Alan Shearer always wanted to play that ball. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. And he played it to perfection, unfortunately. And Michael Owen just had to check his run, and then the move just fritters out. Poor first touch from Obi. Just watching Arsenal already in their build-up. It's very easy on the eye, isn't it? Very intricate. They like to pass the ball around, just try and draw defenders out of spaces to allow Henry in particular to run into.
He got up brilliantly there, Shearer.
A better first touch from Michael Owen. You might have seen the first goal there.
Prem's header. Lauren. Slab. Certainly glad to see him back as well, Arsenal. He was outstanding before his injury. It wasn't a very outstanding ball, though. He almost dropped Fabregas into trouble then. Touré. And off Amiobi for an Arsenal throw. A lot made of Arsenal's defeat at Bolton last week, but it's the only time they've lost in their last dozen games. And they had won 6 in a row before going down 2-0 at the Reebok. And whether Arsenal and Manchester United and all the other challengers for the championship know they've got to keep winning, because that's exactly what Chelsea seem to be doing.
Well, we've got a very competitive game at the moment, especially in that middle third. Not an awful lot of room. Arsene Wenger having to be patient at the moment. I think this is always going to be a season of transition for him.
Boomsong has gone forward. His partner at the back, Bramble, will take the free kick. Boomsong going for it, but it's beyond him, or headed away by Senderos, only as far as Amiobi. Dangerous ball back in. Touré deals with it. And Percy keeping an eye for the challenge, and he wasn't disappointed. Bramble. And Arsenal work their way out of trouble very impressively. That's the kind of commitment the fans here want to see from one of their big favourites, Nobby Solano.
The type of commitment that the managers are looking for, Alan. You know, the only thing you can do when results aren't going well for you is show a lot of character, a lot of determination. Graham will be looking for that as a basic minimum from his team today.
Newcastle with just 5 wins from their 15 Premiership games. They've drawn 4 and lost the other 6. Elliott's clearance into no man's land. Owen will keep pursuing that. His very presence made it nervy for Senderos. Touré. Good pressure from Newcastle, not letting Arsenal play.
Well, that's important. I just wonder how long they can keep that going, though. You know, that takes its toll on a lot of players when you're closing down as quickly as Newcastle are at the moment.
Impressive run by Amiobi, brought to a juddering halt. Home fans wanted a free kick. Bramble playing it back in again. And suddenly Shearer gets away from his marker and gets a corner.
Unfortunately for Arsenal, Touré rescues the situation, but he really got bullied out of that ball that came forward. Alan Shearer just nudges him to one side. So Touré is competitive and he's strong, and he just does enough to get back and deal with the danger. But really interesting, a corner, the right sort of delivery. Solano does tend to deliver reasonable quality into the box.
Owen, the smallest man in the 6-yard box, but plenty of aerial targets. Wasn't the best delivery in the end, easily cleared by Arsenal.
It's poor, really. You're going to have to put this Arsenal side under pressure with set pieces for sure. You're not going to do it from open play. Newcastle haven't had too many sighters of goal so far.
Ramage looking for Shearer from the throw. Gets it back from the captain and finds Parker. Ramage will look for distance this time. Over the head of Boomsong towards Shearer, who made some kind of contact. Ramage. Cross by Bramble. Ramage is there again. Good work by Boomsong. Amiobi. This is Elliott. A little spell of possession this for the home side. Owen trying to sneak in behind the central defenders.
They're winning the little knockdowns at the moment. That's such a vital ingredient. If you're going to put Arsenal under pressure, you need to keep that ball alive and put this back four under pressure. That's exactly what they're doing at the moment, Newcastle.
Parker tries his luck.
Well, you're always looking for an end product, and that was a good period of play from Newcastle. They were strong, they were powerful, they put Arsenal under pressure, and they carved out probably their first opportunity.
Heading it back in. Owen thought he would have been offside, so didn't even go for it. Arsenal have now lost 4 times in the Premiership this season, and all the defeats have come away from home at Chelsea, Middlesbrough, West Bromwich Albion and Bolton. They've only had 1 win in 7 games on the road. That was their recent 3-2 success at Wigan. Campbell for them. And Percy's layoff was clever for Kleb. Trying to set Henry free on the right, and he found him well. Corner.
He did well in the end, didn't he, Robbie Elliott? That's a terrific ball inside the full-back. And you think with Henry's pace, you know, that really would have been a problem for Robbie Elliott. But what he did was he just made sure that he covered the space. He knew exactly where Henry was going to try and play that towards the near post. Only one player in the box, which was Lundberg.
Who remains there now to try and put the goalkeeper given off. He's standing right in front of him. It looked dangerous, and it still is. What a scramble. Big shout for a handball as the ball ricocheted around in that melee.
Very messy, wasn't it? Very nearly Arsenal's opportunity to score.
Fabregas. Lauren. Good ball for Kleb. Dangerous cross as well. Van Persie was poised to head it goalwards. Now Toure. He won't shove Amiobi out the way as easily as that.
Dermot Gallagher certainly had to be very sharp in the way that he's looking at so many bodies. Was that a handball? Well, it certainly looks as if it catches Titus Bramble's left arm, but maybe the referee, because he's got a good position there, deems that as purely accidental. He hasn't looked to gain advantage, Bramble, but how many times have we seen when players do raise their arms at referees? They're very prone to give penalties.
And Bramble did give away a penalty in the last game here, of course, against Aston Villa. Fortunately for him, it was missed by Gareth Barry. By Solano. Oh, lovely ball. Ramage. He did well to win that back, having made the initial error. And then Bramble carelessly gifted it to Kleb, who was pushed over by Nobby Solano.
He's been quite involved, hasn't he, Kleb? Returned from injury. He's had a sustained run in this side, but the feeling is that when he does, he may well be the long-term successor to Robert Perez.
He did play for an hour against Ajax. It was his first appearance for 2 months in midweek. Loudon with the kick. Should be easy for Boomsong, and was. Shearer perhaps a little slow to react that time. Senderos. Elliott gets up well against Ljungberg. I mentioned before that Arsenal have lost 4 times in the league this season. They only lost 5 in the whole of last season and still finished a dozen points behind the champions Chelsea.
In many respects, their style tends to lend itself to away from home, because they do like to draw sides onto them, and they know they've got the explosive pace of Henry, the technical abilities of Van Persie, who finds himself into good areas.
As he almost did then.
Good run, wasn't it? Good defending. Well, Bramble, again, like Boomsong, has made mistakes this season. And in the main, a lot of them have been down to lack of concentration, and that's something that you can work all week in the training ground, but you're really hoping your players are going to be focused enough on match day to deal with simple situations, and at times they haven't dealt with that.
Good ball forward by Given, headed on by Shearer. Should be easy for Campbell. But when the ball is in the air, Arsenal seem to be having problems. Elliott. When it's on the ground, it's easy for the Gunners' back four. Touré's headed away. Good one. Youngberg. Touré keeps running. Gilberto helps it into his path. Good defending this time from Jean-Alain Boumsong. Shearer back to 5. Bit of indecision, could have been costly. He's got away with it this time. And then Amiobi commits the foul.
Once again, though, it's very messy, very competitive in that midfield area. Space really is a premium. The one thing that Arsenal have got the advantage, if they do find some space, they've probably got more craft and guile in their side than Newcastle have in theirs.
Solano, and there's either a handball or a foul of some kind anyway, because the free kick's gone against him.
Michael Owen's challenge against Sol Campbell. So the referee's assistant on this side deemed illegal.
Henry dancing his way into a bit of space between Boumsong and Bramble. And got a flick on that as well. He's not noted for his ability in the air, but he proved he has it then. Solano can't control it on the ground, but he's normally immaculate.
Can't get in the game at the moment, can he, Solano? He's talking about craft and guile. He's one of the few players, I think, in this Newcastle side that's capable of bringing that to the team, and he's really has just kicked out there.
I think that was frustration with his own poor touch a moment earlier, wasn't it?
It was a poor challenge. It really was a poor challenge on Laurent. From behind, the ball had left the boot of Laurent. It was late. Fortunately for Nobby Solano, I don't think the referee got a particularly good view of it. And not renowned for his technical ability. Solano. And Laurent just feeling the full force of that.
And maybe a bit fortunate to escape a caution.
Chris
didn't think the free kick was there, did you?
No, it wasn't. It was then the referee allowed play to go on, and there was a free kick given later. So you look at that challenge, doesn't get a yellow, and you see what Chris Rickett got today.
Boumsong's header was an awkward one, really. It's kept Newcastle under pressure. Even Henry can't produce magic at all times.
We said Titus Bramble in the previous home game against Aston Villa gave a penalty away, and could quite easily have given another one. They worked very hard just to try and clear the danger. Their arm was up, he pulls it away very quickly. Have a look at Dermot Gallagher's view. He was looking right down at it. But, it's just pure reactionary, and I think that's the right decision, I have to say.
Bramble gets it away cleanly this time and finds Solano. It's possessed by Fabregas. Prem. Back tracking, and Ramage got a foot in, but that is a corner. Can't overestimate really what an important game this is for Arsenal. I said they're 16 points behind Chelsea, but they will still have a game in hand on Mourinho's team after today, and of course they face the champions at Highbury a week tomorrow. Toure trying to get away from his marker. I think it was Ramage who got the touch on the near post. Danger hasn't gone yet for Newcastle. Hemmed in here. Fabregas spreads the play beautifully, and a great little header. Henri to Van Persie, who's in sparkling form at the moment.
That's great play, though. Good defending. Amiobi back helping out. And clever little flick, wasn't it, from Henri? Haven't seen an awful lot of the Arsenal top goal scorer and captain in this opening 20 minutes, but he is capable of deft touches like that. Amiobi does his job very well there. Van Persie's a real threat. We've seen that with his recent goal-scoring record. Is it 8 goals in his last 10 games?
Yes,
really
and deservedly got the Player of the Month award from Barclays. And, by the way, is about to sign a new extension to his contract at Highbury. Here's Owen. Elliott's big booming cross. Two guys who know each other from all those England training sessions, not to mention the times they've clashed in the Premiership. And it's advantage Owen. Corner for Newcastle.
Well, the last one was poor, wasn't it, from Solano? We're looking for a better delivery from him. Lots of Shearer, Bramble, Boomsong.
Ramage, a useful header of the ball as well. Well, again, it was really disappointing.
It's poor. That really is poor. You know, when you're struggling for confidence, when you work on set pieces during the week, they can sometimes make or break your side on match days, and Solano has got better quality than what we've seen so far.
Silver Audi ND53HUY, please return to your vehicle.
Loudon. Ball down by Alan Shearer.
I think this is a big period, you know, for both sides, because as the game wears on, it will open up. There'll be a lot more space, and I think Arsenal will certainly benefit from that. At the moment, they're just nice and comfortable. They've been strong at the back. They've dealt with most things. Haven't seen an awful lot of the partnership of Shearer and Owen.
Toure. Fabregas. Along the ground for Van Persie. Gilberto. Lovely ball. Kleb. Terrific football this from Arsenal. Kleb. Oh, clever. Really clever. They're screaming for it in the middle, and he couldn't produce the pass that mattered. Shearer. Parker. Well, there's the difference. Arsenal kept it for about 6 or 7 passes. Newcastle could only manage 2 or 3.
I think the problem was when Scott Parker got that ball to his feet, you know, he had nothing in his mind. And when Shearer's coming deep, Michael Owen is a good 15-20 yards ahead of him. We've got one player to hit. You need to find players with far more quality than Newcastle are doing right now. Otherwise, it's just going to come straight back at you.
Kleb. Free kick.
It's a player, doesn't it, Kleb? Very easy on the eye. Likes to play 10-15 yards in from the touchline. Difficult for defenders to play against. It wasn't the best pass that Lauren has ever hit in his career, was it?
Damages clearance. Owen will keep chasing. And his presence forced Senderos into the early decision. St James's Park, not quite the fortress of old, but still Manchester United are the only team who've won here in the Premiership this season. Newcastle have won 3 and drawn 3 at home. But we never get an easy ride with Mr. Shearer.
It's a good battle, that, isn't it? Very powerful players, a pair of them, Campbell and Shearer. They've played a lot against each other down the years. That's just sheer muscle and power. Oh dear. Not one for the faint-hearted, is it?
25 minutes gone, and not a serious threat on either goal as yet. Kleb. That was a great flick on, and the referee waited to see if Owen could collect, and then gave the free kick in Shearer's favour. Shearer. Wasn't too happy with the challenge from Gilberto. Boomsong on to Elliott. Not sure whether Michael Owen might not have another problem here for Newcastle.
Massive problem they've got at the moment.
Fabregas on to Ljungberg. They might have another problem. Fabregas has found some space and found Ljungberg again. It was a risky challenge, but Brambles got away with it.
Right about there where he gave the penalty away, wasn't it? Aston Villa. Crunching challenge on Ljungberg.
In it goes, and what a shot, and what a magnificent save by Gibbon to deny Thierry Henry the opening goal. Well, what a save.
That had goal written all over it, Alan. It really did. Superb play. Look at the quality of the delivery. Matching a great run from Henry. Wonderful contact. That's heading in the top corner. And I said at the top, Shay Gibbon has been in wonderful form this season. And he really has been the difference. And Newcastle, while they've been struggling, could have been a lot worse off if it hadn't been for some of those saves that he's made this season. Absolutely top draw.
Gibbon trying to get a view of the ball again as it came across. Good header away, and they're still under some pressure here in Newcastle. An absolute world-class goalkeeping by Shay Gibbon.
You can see why he's highly thought of in these parts. Just getting round now to look at renegotiating his contract. 18 months to go. Certainly won't want to lose him. He's a big, big player for Newcastle.
Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with Michael Owen on that occasion. As it goes on to Amiobi, just slipped it in behind rather than in front of his man. Ramage down the line for Solano. Came off Campbell. Home fans thought it was a handball. It's only a throw.
Michael Owen's still not moving. Yeah, he's still not moving well.
Senderos. Not the easiest ball to deal with that. It reared up in front of him. Lovely touchdown from Henry, as you'd expect. And what a ball for Ljungberg, who's got in behind here. Henry's far edge. Henry!
Well, I think he got caught in two minds there, Thierry Henry. I think at one point he thinks he's heading this, and then it just seems to drop in front of him. What a great break. Talked about the incisive passing of Arsenal. You just witnessed it there. I think he thinks, I'm going to head this, and then instead he goes to just side-footer with his left foot, and he makes a horrid contact. I really expect him to do better with his quality.
Handball against Robin van Persie.
I always thought when the game opened up, Alan, that Arsenal would certainly hold a few more aces than Graham's side. That's why he's talking about you need to tighten things. Don't give them any space. If you drop off at the back, you're going to expose your midfield players. And that'll allow Fabregas and Gilberto to get on the ball, and they'll just pick passes around you. A lot of quality in this Arsenal team.
Goes in towards Boomsong, who won the header well. Clearance by Fabregas, calm and measured for Alexander Kleb. And restarted that trademark run again. He's in the inside right position. Here he is. Ljungberg. And Persie. On to Kleb. Campbell just prevents the corner. Couldn't prevent the throw. Arsenal, do you feel, coming up to the half-an-hour mark, getting in their rhythm now. Loudon. Ljungberg takes over. Fabregas seeing a lot of the ball and using it exceptionally well. Gilberto. Good strong challenge on him by Shola Amiobi. Offside. Didn't seem anything wrong with Michael Owen then, but a few minutes ago, Brian, he was definitely struggling, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He seems to have recovered. Seems to be just feeling the groin area as well. That's the injury that he's had recently.
There's 5. I think he really wanted it back.
Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go, Newcastle at the moment. Really looking for somebody just to make that run. in behind this Arsenal back four.
And Shearer does. And Lehmann prevents it turning into a crisis for Arsenal.
Well, Arsenal are inviting Newcastle just to play those balls over the top. They trust Campbell and Sendros in particular to have enough pace to deal with Shearer and Owen.
Fabregas. What a wonderful, mature and assured player he is for a teenager. Henry. And here's the young Spaniard again. Kleb. Oh, to get it off them when they're playing like this. You've got to hope they give it you back. Or you go and do that, which Alan Shearer did to the delight of the Toon army.
Still not relieved the danger just yet, though. The amount of possession that Arsenal have. Looking very ominous, you'd have to say. You know, Newcastle are the home team, but at the moment they seem to be camped in their own half, and I think they've got to go and squeeze a little bit more than they are doing.
I'll tell you what, I wish we'd started counting the passes in this move. Even the home fans are starting to cheer. Well, we've got to be into the 20s now in terms of consecutive passes by Arsenal.
What you end with, though, that's the main thing. Is there an end product? In that instance, no. You get it back, but I have to say, this is a dangerous game for Newcastle to play. They started the first 10 minutes, Alan. They squeezed up the field. They worked very hard against Arsenal. They denied them space and room in that area that we're looking at. But all of a sudden, Fabregas in particular is getting a lot of room on the ball, and he'll pick passes out, whether it's into wide positions with the fullbacks, getting forward, or threading little balls through to the feet of Van Persie.
And a lot of promise about that Arsenal move, but no finish. Some might say symptomatic of their form away from home this season. They've only scored 6 goals in 7 away matches in the Premiership, and half of those came in one game at Wigan. Oh, what about that? No one expecting that. Good tackle, though.
That's great play, you know, from Gilberto. Well, I have to say, I don't think that's the best defending from Titus Bramble. He made it too easy. I mean, Gilberto's worked incredibly hard just to get anywhere near that ball on the touchline. He's just lobbed the ball over Titus Bramble and just gone past him with ease.
He's getting sharper. Fabregas picks up the loose ball and makes a mess of his shot.
So grateful, aren't they, to Shea Given at the moment that they don't find themselves behind. This is a fabulous good build-up play. That's exactly what I was talking about. Look at the space there that Fabregas has got just to get his head up and pick the pass, and the pass is brilliant. The strike, well, Thierry Henry was wheeling away thinking he'd scored. So great contact, but this fella's been in outstanding form over the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Hardly ever misses a game as well. One of the saves of the season now. There's Ljungberg. And he tries his luck from greater range this time. Well, it's been an awful week for Manchester United. Can they come back against Everton at Old Trafford tomorrow? You can find out by tuning into Sky Sports 1 at 3:30. Aimed at Amiobi. He couldn't reach it.
It's interesting that Graham's decided to play Amiobi on that left-hand side. Not a natural position for him. He'd rather play up top, either with Shearer or Owen, but Graham feels that he can give them something that side of the field. I just think that if you're going to play him there, you're going to maybe look to play 1 or 2 long diagonal balls and try and get him against the right back, use his aerial ability.
Owen caught offside again. Boomsong's feeling the effects of that earlier problem he had as Ramage is beaten to it by Henry. Now Kleb. Back inside to Thierry Henry. Brilliant skill from Henry. Just too much in the end. Boomsong relieved him of possession.
I feel it's a matter of time, isn't it, before Arsenal register a goal. Newcastle really have got lucky at times. Defensively, they haven't dealt with some of the movement, the quality in the final third that Arsenal have possessed. Great awareness by Clem, just to spot the run of Henry. And have a look at this, a little pirouette in the box. Fantastic skill. Oh dear. Audacious. You don't do that, do you?
I don't know.
No, you don't know. You're right. You
I don't even dream of it.
No.
It looked even better in slow motion. Lad, brilliant. And they're getting hemmed in more and more in their own half here, Newcastle. Even Campbell has had room to step out from the back. Now Ljungberg, Campbell has kept running.
One man to hit, that's all Freddie Ljungberg had. Sol Campbell. They've got the taste now, haven't they, Arsenal? The centre-back is playing as a centre-forward, so they feel they've had enough possession now to convert some of the chances that are coming their way.
100% record in the league Arsenal have at Highbury. 7 wins out of 7. Just 1 win out of 7 on the road. How mystifying is that? And remember, in the 2 seasons in recent years when they won the league title, they remained unbeaten away from home in both those campaigns. So it really does take some figuring out their away form in this particular season. Senderos, you can't dwell on the ball with Owen around, and he didn't.
The good news for Newcastle is Owen seems to have got over those earlier problems that he had. But he hasn't seen too much of the ball in the final third, and for Michael Owen, it's not going to be good enough.
Lauren, a bit dangerous there for Gilberto. And his challenge has led to a free kick.
Easily we got the ball, didn't he, Gilberto? So, big decision for Dermot Gallagher to make, of course, early in this half with the handball from Titus Bramble.
Boomsong forward again. Amiobi and Shearer are the potential targets here. I don't know what Henry's up to. Lurking with intent. He's behind you, Titus.
It's that time of the year.
Early throw out by Lehmann. Now Kleb. That's a lovely ball again from Henry. Just couldn't quite find Ljungberg. And Rambo was at full stretch to hook that one clear.
They seem to be living on the edge, don't they, this Newcastle United back four.
Fabregas. Interception by Ramage. Solano looks up and sees nothing on. Shearer persisted. He'll keep going and kept going a bit too high and a bit too hard. Then Lehmann, as ever, who cannot resist an argument, comes to have his 3 Pfennigs worth.
It's a yellow card, and I don't know why Jens Lehmann gets involved. You know, the referee's going to deal with that. I mean, everybody's seen it in St James's Park. There's no need for the goalkeeper to get involved in something that's just none of his business. It's a poor challenge, and Andy Fye knows he's going to get a yellow card. The referee knows it. He's still at it, look. What else is he after?
Plays in the German team, perhaps. Well, there's no doubt that that's a fully merited caution.
Of course it is. I mean, that's just frustration because can't get anything going forward. Momentum takes him through. Senderos is a strong lad. He'll be up and about shortly.
Recalled to the side last week against Aston Villa, the Senegal international. They need him for his strength, but he's got to keep it within the laws of the game, and he didn't then.
That used to happen all the time, didn't it, with that fella?
I'm not sure whether Senderos is still injured or just getting dressed again here. should be going to the World Cup next summer as well. Only 20, but he's broken into the Swiss national team, who overcame Turkey, of course, in the playoffs. So Arsene Wenger's going to lose yet another player next summer.
Very highly rated, this young man. No-nonsense centre-back. Sometimes you need that in the Premier League, and I think Arsenal have needed it away from home this season. Sometimes been guilty of overplaying in the wrong areas. It's cost them results.
With the interception. Good steady player. He's done really well in his spell at right back, with Stephen Carr out injured for the last few games.
One of the few successes this season. Ironically, the two youngsters, Stephen Taylor and Peter Ramage.
That's a lovely little ball, though, and came to the near post in anticipation. Would you believe it went the other way?
Great ball, great ball. Newcastle's best move so far. The left-hand side, opened up Arsenal. As well here, Scott Parker. The run isn't tracked by Fabregas. And that's exactly where you'd expect Michael Owen to be thinking of making his run. Whether he's still struggling, I'm not quite sure. A little bit off the pace, but that's better from Newcastle.
Senderos back for Arsenal. Still limping a little bit, I notice, as Campbell goes for the clearance. Serrano bringing it down cleverly. In strongly.
I think one of the reasons why Graham has gone for Faye and Parker is to just probably give them that little bit extra protection, security, that back four. Talked already about some of the mistakes that the two centre-backs in particular have made, and sometimes you just need somebody to sit and help out, support. Parker and Faye will do that.
Toure with a moment of rare indecision for him. Here in the centre, obviously. Foul on Boomsong by Robin van Persie. Boomsong looks for Shearer, who looks in turn for Owen. Senderos away from danger. That's a clever turn by Owen. Shearer was poised on the far post if he could have got his cross in. Lundberg winning it back, but Amiobi's battling away for Newcastle. The tackle's going in hard.
That's exactly how Newcastle have got to approach this game. They started like that in the first 10 minutes. They just laid off a little bit, allowed Arsenal then to dictate proceedings. Had a few let-offs. And then over the last 5 or 10 minutes again, they just seem to have upped the ante somewhat and got about Arsenal, made it difficult for them.
Newcastle are one of the lowest scoring teams in the Premiership. They've only scored 13 times in 15 games before today, despite the dream ticket of Shearer and Owen, who haven't been together that much, of course, because of injuries for both of them, principally Michael Owen. Well, that looked like a foul on Shearer. Henry. It's a good ball for Van Persie. Ljungberg is ahead of him. It almost came through to the Swedish international. It would have been hell to play, I think, here if anything had resulted from that. As Amiobi goes down and does win a free kick. Yellow card
The
for
official has indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes at a time. Minimum of 2 minutes at a time.
Just a late challenge, isn't it? A little bit cynical, really. He knows that Amiobi's gone past him. He's just left his left leg in there.
second caution of the half. 5 for Newcastle. Amiobi. It's cross smacked against the nearest man. And that was an Arsenal man, so it's a Newcastle throw. 2 minutes of stoppage time. We've almost had the first minute already. goes towards Shearer on the near post. The backheader difficult for Lehmann, who was under pressure and was fouled.
Well, you know, the goalkeepers always get the benefit of the doubt. I don't think Jens Lehmann ever looks comfortable in situations like this. I think he particularly likes the physical element of the Premier League. And Michael Owen, all 5'6" of him, just puts his hefty frame into Jens Lehmann.
It's just a big bully, that Owen, isn't it? Henry. Oh, outrageous bit of skill again from Thierry Henry. Fabregas. Is there a way through for him? He didn't quite match Thierry Henry, but it was impressive. All fans have decided they don't like Jens Lehmann. They like him a bit better for that clearance. Half-time arrives at St James's Park, no goals. Titus Bramble, who gave away a penalty against Aston Villa here last week, was at the centre of an incident when he might well have seen another penalty go against him, a possible handball. Shay Given certainly handled the ball, and how brilliantly did he do it to stop Thierry Henry scoring for Arsenal, who've impressed here, had most of the possession, played some lovely football, but really lacked that cutting edge so far. It's Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 0 at half-time.
Yes, no goals so far, but Arsenal are knocking on the door. We'll have George's thoughts after the break. Plenty of flair and flamboyance from the visitors, as we've become accustomed to. It's the end product on the road that they continue to lack. Sky Sports 1. And from La Liga in the evening, Malaga versus Real Madrid, followed by Barcelona and Sevilla. 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 1 for that. Early today in the Premiership, a home win at last for Birmingham. 0-0 against Fulham, Nicky Butt the goal scorer. Blackburn 3, West Ham 2, couple for Paul Dickoff. Shefki Kuki with the winner Bobby Zamora and Marlon Harewood for West Ham. Bolton 1, Aston Villa 1, 2 late goals. El Hadj Diouf and Juan Pablo Angel, his first of the season. Charlton 2, Sunderland 0. They'd lost their previous 5. Charlton, Darren Bent and Darren Ambrose on target. Chelsea 1-0 winners against Wigan thanks to John Terry after 67 minutes. 2 for Fernando Morientes as Liverpool's excellent run continued against Middlesbrough, and West Brom 2, Manchester City 0. Diamansi Kamara and Kevin Campbell. No goals as yet at St James's Park. Briefly, George, how concerned will Graham Souness be that Jens Lehmann, at the opposite end from Shay Given, has yet to make a serious save?
I don't think he'll be too concerned, Marcus, because if he actually looks at the game, Arsenal have probably just dominated the majority of it.
Thanks, George. Let's get back up to the commentary box. Brian Marwood and Alan Parry.
Well, Newcastle have beaten Arsenal just once here at St James's Park in the last 9 years, and that was when Arsene Wenger fielded an understrength team 3 days before the UEFA Cup final of 5 years ago. So there's not much in terms of previous history to encourage the Newcastle fans, and frankly there wasn't too much in that first 45 minutes to lift their spirits either. Arsenal get the second half underway, and if they can turn their possession into a goal, there would seem to be only one outcome here, but you never know. Newcastle do have a fighting spirit instilled in them by these marvellous fans here, and if they were to score first, it could be very interesting. Sol Campbell for Arsenal, given away to Ramage. Header on by Shearer, dealt with by Senderos. Loses possession in the middle of the field. Henry's layoff. Ramage claiming the throw, but it goes Arsenal's way. Quickly taken by Clare to Fabregas, who's been excellent. And on the ball again now. Well, it invited the sliding tackle, and Ramage wasn't going to throw the chance away, was he?
The youngster might be a little bit fortunate there that he's escaped a yellow card. And certainly the ball into Kleb invites Ramage to make a challenge. He's late. I think he's very, very lucky not to get a yellow there from Dermot Gallagher. An interesting battle, hasn't it? Kleb against Ramage, the youngster. Done well this season, but it's been a big, big test for him today.
Song and Gilberto keeping an eye on each other like hawks. It's popped in shorter than that to Hleb, and that, I think, is a goal kick. Although Arsenal are appealing for a corner, Hleb in particular. Smile on the face of Dermot Gallagher, who is in his last season, sadly, as a referee. I say sadly because I think he's one of the more common sense, more approachable officials. And if he's still fit enough to get around and make good decisions, then why shouldn't he carry on? Away by Senderos. Looking for a bit of movement here. Shearer provides it. Down the line to Amiobi. Now Shearer on towards Owen. Clearance by Campbell. Again, the deep throw to Shearer, who turned well, set it up for Parker, onto Michael Owen. Just seemed to lose his balance, but he's got a corner.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with Newcastle playing this way. The throw in, pressurise, slightly long, keep teams under pressure.
Owen involved with Solano, and they might have rather hoped he'd be in the middle. Oh, brilliant skill again by Henry, but has he overdone it this time? That's normally done in the opposition half, not his own. And then he barged into Amiobi to make up for his own error.
Well, does well there, Sean Amiobi. Knows he doesn't really want to take it on the outside and use his left foot, because he's predominantly right. Almost encourages Henry to get close to him and then just dives between the two Arsenal players. A decent position. Solano has been very wasteful so far from set pieces. Needs to come up with something.
Can the little man from Peru get it right this time? Boonsong, far edge of the 6-yard box, and look how many players there are between him and the ball. Lehmann made the right decision. Back in by Elliott. Two Arsenal men went for the same ball, but they've got away with it for the moment. And again, a bit of indecision, and it breaks for Shearer. Lehmann should, and does, catch with ease.
Well, it was a great set piece, wasn't it, from Solano? Did well there, Newcastle, a lot better. The fans a little bit more encouraged.
Wild swing by Fabregas. Parker winning it back for Newcastle, who started at a higher tempo here, and it's rattled Arsenal for the moment. Owen and Solano combine again. Senderos turns it clear to Amiobi. Shot on the ball as the crowd were urging him to shoot. Solano looking for Shearer, far post. Ball breaks again, and the wild effort by Scott Parker.
Oh, good chance, but again, that's power play. Stick that ball into an area where you know Alan Shearer's physical presence is going to cause problems, and then try and pick up the bits and pieces from there. And they do it brilliantly here. Shearer, fantastic little knockdown to Scott Parker. He looks as if he's done everything right. He's composed himself, not renowned for getting goals from midfield. Well, that's a big chance, and you need to take those chances when they come along against Arsenal. But this is a lot better from Newcastle. They're pressurising, they're working hard, and they're certainly putting Arsenal under a bit of pressure.
Here's Amiobi. Solano couldn't stab it through again to Amiobi, who's still battling there with Campbell. And Shearer! Oh, my word.
You'd have expected him, wouldn't you? Newcastle United, number 9. How many times in his career has he been in positions like this? I thought at one moment Arsenal perhaps should have had a free kick. Amiobi really doesn't look at the ball, he just looks at Sol Campbell. So they get lucky. But that ball's got to come back towards the far post. And that's two big chances that man has seen his team squander in the last 2 minutes.
But what a good start to the second half here. Shearer's layoff. Parker was caught. And the foul has gone the other way. Or has it? No, it has gone in Newcastle's favour. Rightly so. No, in fact, he's given the throw in. He didn't give a free kick at all. Fabregas. Well, Newcastle are digging in. They've increased the pace of their game. It's almost almost paid dividends early on here.
Well, they did it for the first 10 and the last 10 of the first half, and they've repeated that here. This is where they need a goal, but you can just sense now the atmosphere. The Newcastle fans believe or get behind their team when they can see them working hard and trying to break down this Arsenal side, and they've very nearly had a bit of success.
Over Owen's head this time. Clearance by Campbell. Elliott guiding it back. Given picks out Amiobi. Senderos away. Amiobi much more in the game than he was in the first half. He's injured at the moment. Well, that was a much better effort than I thought at first.
I'm not sure whether Scott Parker's going to chip Jens Lehmann there, but he does well, the goalkeeper.
Well, now there's all kinds happening here. Arsenal got a player down injured. Lehmann has incurred the wrath of the crowd. Shearer thinks he was wasting time. The referee's got a few problems to sort. That's
a great take, that, from the goalkeeper. But what Newcastle are trying to do at the moment is put him under pressure. You know, we have seen signs since he's been in this country, Jens Lehmann, that he has cracked when pressure has been put upon him. You can see there Alan Shearer saying to the referee who was wasting time. This has been a great period for the home side. It really has. They've started well in this second period. They've got the fans backing now, and they need to push on. And what Graham won't want to do is his side expose themselves in respect of throwing too many bodies into the final third. And that really is massive encouragement when you know that these fans get behind you, because for the best part, they've had a lot of disappointment so far this season.
Taking the opportunity during that break to change his goalkeeping gloves. Giro waiting to be signalled back on. It's all happened in slow motion in the last 60 seconds or so. Two-way is back. Fans weren't convinced he was really hurt, but I'm sure he was. He's not the kind to feign injury. Parker. Ramage leaves it to Bramble. And that's not what was required, and the home fans let Bramble know. Clever little ball to Fabregas, who was dispossessed. Fine. Solano going in hard. Did well to keep that on the field.
Well, they're winning the important challenges at the moment, aren't they, Newcastle? Arsenal really haven't had time to settle in this second half. They certainly haven't got the likes of Clairman, Henry and Van Persie in the game in the way that they did in the first 45. And they're chasing the game a little bit, Arsenal. They'll be hoping that maybe Newcastle might just run out of steam. The game will open again, that will allow them to play their football.
Owen holds off Senderos. Shearer. I think the linesman was actually in disagreement with the referees. I think he was going to give it the other way.
Well, he is. I think Alan is trying to be quite cute and clever here, because he's just knocked the ball past Lauren and thinking, well, I'll run into Lauren and try and win myself a free kick. But just have a look at the linesman on that far side. I mean, he's never going to get a better view than what he has. He's waved the other way, and the referee has overruled him.
Things going Newcastle's way at the moment. Can they get a goal? Bramble. They are. Chase that was the order. But it's got this crowd fired up for the first time, really. Loose layoff from Amiobi. Elliott had to go sliding in. And that decision has gone the home team's way as well. Cross went in hard on Owen. And then Boomsong doing likewise, and he's been caught. This is going very lively indeed. Gilberto has been yellow carded already, remember? He's off.
Oh, we must have a look at this again, because I think the first tackle he's made in the first half is a cynical one. It's definitely deserving a yellow card. I just think that's missed time, misjudgment, whatever you want to call it. And Boomsong does brilliant here. You know, great ability to just take him past Gilberto. But that's late, and he's held his leg out. And I actually think that's the right decision. That's a poor challenge from Gilberto. Well, Arsenal were chasing the game when they had 11 players.
Well, we all know about Arsenal's disciplinary record under Arsene Wenger, but I have to say, that's the first player they've had sent off in their last 25 Premiership matches now, since Robin van Persie was dismissed at Southampton over 9 months ago, so they have improved in that sense. Not that that will be of any consolation to them at this moment. They face a very tricky, well, more than half an hour here with only 10 men.
George was right, you know, in what he said at half-time. I think that Arsenal, when they were at their best, when they had periods of possession, they would score from the chances that they created. Now, you look at the chances that they had in the first half, you know, they were good chances that you would expect them to convert. And I think at times they're very nonchalant about some of the situations that they do create for themselves. And then, like Newcastle are having now, the other side have a spell of pressure. And they haven't really finished Newcastle off.
Solano's free kick as they try to inflict further damage. They've got a corner now, Newcastle. And the mood and the temperature is rising here. It's changed appreciably since the beginning of the second half.
This could well be a defining moment in Newcastle's season. Graham Souness has been under incredible pressure of late, but Arsenal down to 10 men. Newcastle playing very well in the second half. Can they win this game?
We've got Boomsong back on as well. Now he's making his way into the penalty area. Lehmann with a good catch under pressure. That's excellent goalkeeping. Good early throw as well for Clare. But that's where they've improved, and they nearly improve with a sensational goal from Parker.
He's had a couple of cycles. You know, at 1 minute, it's a great save, and then another minute, that's an awful throw. You know, you've only got 10 players on the field. You just calm things down. Newcastle are dominating play, and Jens Lehmann could have cost his side a goal there with poor distribution. That's a great strike from Scott Parker. That's 2 now that he's had. He's come close.
Still waiting for his first Newcastle goal. But it was the challenge just before that. I was about to say that's where Newcastle have really improved in this second half. They're competing for every ball now. Arsenal know that in a game, and the tackles are flying in. Shearer, the latest.
Well, he wasn't happy, was he, Sol Campbell? He probably has every right to be. It's a poor challenge from Alan Shearer. Is the referee going to do anything about it? Doesn't look as if he is. Now, how does that escape a yellow card?
I've got to agree with you.
You know, that's a poor challenge. Look where the referee is. I think he might just be losing the plot a wee bit, Dermot Gallagher. I mean, we were praising him earlier, and I do think he's one of the best around, but if you're going to send off Gilberto, and I'm not saying that was a sending off, but it was certainly a yellow card.
No doubt Arsene Wenger would agree with that sentiment. As Owen tries to create another problem for Arsenal and then goes in hard again on Lehmann.
Well, the referee's got to think, has Jens Lehmann then deliberately jumped into Scott Parker, or is it just that the momentum of Parker has taken him through onto the goalkeeper? Now, the referee has got a lot to deal with at the moment. There's a lot of challenges. It's a very physical football match. It has been from the first moment. But there. Could Jens Lehmann got out of the way? That's the question the referee has got to ask himself. I think he could have well just jumped to the side of Scott Parker there.
Well, what a dramatic opening 15 minutes here in the second half at St James's Park. Still no goals, but we've had a red card and a number of contentious incidents. We're about to have an Arsenal substitution, by the way. Matthew Flamini, the player who will be coming on. Not sure yet whose place he's going to take. That is obviously to shore things up in the middle of the field after the dismissal of Gilberto. Well, the visual can't get Mr. Gallagher's attention at the moment. There's so much going on.
Well, it might well be 0-0, but there's plenty of interest going on, isn't it? You certainly can't take your eyes away from this football match for one moment. Whether that's bookings, sendings off, chances, strange decisions from the referee, some strange decisions from one or two players as well, but I can understand this substitution. I think that Arsene Wenger realises that it is very physical out there, and Flamini is not afraid to mix it.
For the record, Gilberto's dismissal made it 61 players sent off since Arsene Wenger took over. I think they're going to have to change his shirt. That's what they're indicating, because there's obviously blood on it there. As Flamini finally will come on.
Substitution for
They're going to lose an attacking edge, because the man whose place he'll take is Alexander Prem. Pretty sure Parker's going to be all right to come back on for Newcastle. It's just that he, as I said, will have to change his playing jersey. Flamini. Lauren turns it forward. Elliott safely back to Given. Well, we're in for a game now. Can Newcastle make the most of their one-man advantage? Elliott thumps it long, easily cleared by Campbell. Flamini. And again, Newcastle working hard to get the ball back. Well, it looks a bit like an amateur Father Christmas at the moment, but he's out there.
Tongue swollen, isn't it?
Amiobi. Oh, well played. A good dangerous ball in as well. The whistle has gone, I think. Or had it. Chance has gone anyway.
Good chance as well. Great play from Amiobi. At times it's been difficult for him on this left-hand side. It just works very, very hard to get himself an open. He digs a great ball out towards the near post. And again, it's just the fact that there's a lot of pressure in there. It's unnerved and unsettled this Arsenal side.
And the red card has certainly put a very different complexion on this game now. And is Arsenal's ill fortune away from home this season about to continue here on Tyneside? Parker got caught as he played that one away. Fye going in hard with Fabregas. He's the other player on a yellow card, remember? 75.
Well, this is a lot better from his side, hasn't it? You know, he's been waiting for a big performance from his team. You know, a performance that he could be proud of, the players could be proud of, and more importantly, I think at the moment, the fans can be proud of.
Solano's clearance, flicked on by Owen. Flamini, Fabregas, I should say, to Ljungberg. On to Henry. Tried to slide it back, gets it back via the deflection.
Parker's not comfortable, is he?
Important header away by Campbell, though, with Owen lurking behind him. Toure. Haven't seen too much of Robin van Persie in this second half. Ljungberg. Fabregas. Flamini. That's better. This is more typical Arsenal football. Toure. Done well to escape the challenge. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant run. Ljungberg. Fabregas is there. Oh, and then a wild miss kick by Van Persie. What a run by Toure. What a second half. Ramage. over Shearer's head.
Well, you thought with the run that Van Persie has been in, he really would have comfortably converted that. Great play from Toure. Obieli didn't get an awful lot of protection from Amiobi on that left-hand side, but as he's going to line up with his left foot, there's just a little touch with his right that, unfortunately for him, does the damage.
That's more impressive. But Newcastle have it back again with Ramage. Taking a chance, but knew what he was doing. Parker. Shearer rolls it back to Elliott. Owen's already made his run. That ball was never going to pick him out. Now Freddie Ljungberg. Henry wants it early.
Just really trying to keep possession, aren't they, at the moment, Arsenal? Just hoping that Newcastle can't sustain the pace that they've played.
Ljungberg. Flamini. Another early challenge to win it back for Newcastle.
Scott Parker again, he really has led the way in midfield. I think he's been absolutely outstanding. I said at the top, Alan, he's been one of the bright points of the Newcastle season so far. And he certainly proved that again today. You know, he really has been Mr. Consistency. He sat in front of that back four, always working, always an option, an outlet, and never afraid to put his foot in at the right time.
Here he is again. He had a tooth loosened, I gather, in that juddering collision with Lehman earlier.
He's got to be careful, Andy Fight. Really has. And I think one or two Arsenal players are just reminding Dermot Gallagher that Fires on a yellow card.
3/4 of the way through at St James's Park. It's still goalless. Fabregas. Will save them all day, Shea Given. And now looks for Shearer with a clearance. Parker's there again, he's everywhere. Ramage. Serrano swung the foot at that, and that caused the rather nervy clearance by Sol Campbell.
That wasn't the best ball in the world, was it, from Ramage, but what it has done is given the home side another opportunity to put that a little bit more pressure. I'm just a little bit surprised that they haven't just gone and put somebody in front of Jens Lehmann and make it very difficult for the goalkeeper to come and claim anything.
Boomson near post, as he has been for all these set pieces, and he stretched and got a touch. Well, it seemed like nothing, but again it indicates how much they've upped the work rate when Amiobi closed the Arsenal man down there.
Well, I just think that, you know, the very minimum, I think any side or any manager should be asking from his side is work rate. You know, is sticking together when you've got problems, and this Newcastle side have had a lot of difficulties to deal with. But, crikey, that doesn't look the best, does it?
That's for Scott Parker's tooth, rather him than me. Much easier just to leave it under the pillow and
wait for the tooth fairy.
Hope for 3 points in the morning, yeah. "20 minutes to go. Goalless. And Shearer suggesting that maybe Arsenal could have taken that throw in a little bit quicker. Fabregas. Good defending by Senderos. Amiobi did well, though. He's got Owen up with him.
Good challenge from Senderos. He needed to just make any form of contact. He did just that, but look at Scott Parker again. He's so tenacious. He's been everywhere in this football game.
I wouldn't get too close to the touchline if I was him. The doctor might come and administer that painful treatment.
Well, I don't think for one moment he wants to come off, but he certainly in a bit of pain, isn't he, there? Very brave just to carry on. He really has given the performance of two players, never just one.
Well, irrespective of the outcome, if I was Graham Souness, I'd be very proud of Scott Parker's contribution today. He's given his manager and his team everything. Even a tooth by the looks of it.
He could be done for, you know, in this football match. You know, he's signalling over to the bench that you know, really is struggling. And another problem, if it is that, it's a strange sort of injury for Graham to deal with this time. Can't blame the training pitch.
Well, he has lost a lot of midfielders, of course. Dyer's out at the moment, long term. Emre out again. And Zogbia, another injured player. Well, it looks more serious than we first thought.
This is a big decision to make. You know, do you leave him on, hoping that he can get through the remaining 15 minutes or so? But he looks out of it, doesn't he, at the moment? You know, what the doctor had in that needle.
He only missed one game as well in the Premiership since he came from Chelsea, and that was through suspension. During the break in the action, let's remind you that we have Monday Night Football for you next week on Sky Sports 1 at 7:30. We're at White Hart Lane to see Tottenham Hotspur take on Portsmouth, with Harry Redknapp, of course, back in charge.
He's got toothache as well, hasn't he?
He's got a headache, that's for sure.
Lebo, yeah, is the player that is going to get the nod. A smart move, I think, that is the obvious replacement. But he's put so much into his game, hasn't he, Scott Parker, virtually having to carry him off the field. And he's hustled and he's harried and he's made it very uncomfortable for a lot of Arsenal players, and just in the end he's just run out of steam. He really has, and he really has put in a hard shift, and you can see and feel the appreciation that he's getting from the Newcastle fans. They know how much he's given to the cause here.
Bowyer on in his place. We're going to have a fair bit of stoppage time in this game. Thierry Henry's header cleared by 5. Solano, first time ball, away by Sol Campbell. Ljungberg takes it at stretch, but Bramble is there for Newcastle United. Didn't really look where he was playing that, but got away with it. So Ramiobi.
I wonder if Graham might just take a risk on Luque on this left-hand side. Ramiobi's done reasonably well, but he's looking for something that might just break the deadlock here. Luque might give him that.
Arsenal got a free kick. Well, it's still very much in the balance, this game. Newcastle have been better in the second half, a lot better than they were in the first. But with players like Henry around, there's still a threat that Arsenal could go on and win this. Solano knocks it in early, looking for Owen. Lehmann made the right decision again. Amiobi. 5. Solano. Good football as well now from the home side. Ramage. Bowyer had started a run, but not a good enough ball to pick him out.
We've been talking about how a big performance that Graham Souness has had. Well, this was a big game for Arsene Wenger and his team, you know. Everybody thought that maybe gone soft away from home, and the fact they've been down to 10 men and they've had to come under a lot of physical pressure, and in the main they've dealt reasonably well. I think the two centre-backs have coped, looked very strong, Senderos and Campbell. You know, Toure is competitive. Lauren also, we know, you know, he can mix it.
Arsenal 16 points behind Chelsea, the leaders, at the start of play, and can't afford for that gap to widen. Arsenal have resisted the early pressure. Can they come back and snatch a goal themselves now? Campbell plays it long over the head of Henry. And of course, Arsenal beaten 2-0 in their last game in the Premiership at Bolton Wanderers, and you have to go back 5 years to find the last time they drew a blank in 2 consecutive Premiership games. Nervy clearance by Lehmann. It's gone straight to Solano, who couldn't control it, but no harm done. It's Newcastle's throw into Shearer. Foot was high.
Yeah, it was high. Full control initially from Alan Shearer. And, well, he's been on the edge as well, hasn't he, the Newcastle skipper? And I think that's why the Arsenal players are a little bit unhappy with Dermot Gallagher. Maybe they feel that they've shown the Newcastle number 9 perhaps more leniencies than they did Gilberto. This is definitely dangerous play, isn't it? And he certainly catches Lauren.
Lehmann taking his time again over the free kick. Good turn from Michael Owen. Solano stabs it through for Bowyer, but much too far.
It was a great run, wasn't it, from Bowyer? There's a lot of space for him to run into. Toure had tracked the run of Bowyer. Needed a better ball, though, from Solano.
And Percy on the run here. Henry far side. Brilliant goalkeeping by Gibbon. Bramble. Looking a bit laboured there. Amiobi got there in the end.
Treading water a wee bit, isn't it? Amiobi has worked hard on that left-hand side, but Newcastle fans again are incensed. They think that Toure is wasting a little bit more time. I think Amiobi might just have caught him as he tried to straddle the challenge from the Arsenal right-back. He might have just made some sort of contact, but the referee's having none of it. He just wants play to continue. You see there as he just rides the challenge as he caught him. Maybe a little bit, an awful lot.
Lundberg tries to clear his lines and then Senderos with a wild swipe at the ball. Great header there by Ramage. He ducked his head in where some would have feared to put their boot.
It really has been a physical game, hasn't it? You know, in every area of the field there's been a lot of strong challenges made. I'm not sure what the free kick count is, but it'll be high.
Well, 10 minutes to go. There's been so few chances in this game from open play that perhaps a set piece like this could provide the breakthrough. Solano might be favourite unless it's a Shearer blockbuster. Solano with a little dummy to begin with. Trying to say they're not the required distance away, and he's probably got a point. It is set up for Shearer. By the time he hit it, Fabregas was right on top of him. And Miobi did well. Oh yeah, onside, despite Arsenal's protests. Into the final 10 minutes. Bowyer again. Hooked into Amiobi, couldn't get it back to Lee Bowyer.
He's making a lot of runs from midfield, isn't he, Lee Bowyer? You can afford to do that because Arsenal are down to 10 men. They're light in that midfield part. But an interesting decision now. You know, I think when you've got the backs against the wall and you're defending, you're just trying to etch out a point. I'm not sure Robert Perez is going to give you an awful lot defensively.
Certainly be a positive move by Arsene Wenger if he brings him on. Elliott's throw in towards Amiobi on the near post. The knockdown could have been dangerous, but Arsenal clear their lines. Bramble. Elliott. Owen trying to sneak in between the two central defenders. He certainly lost his man momentarily. There's Nobby Solano. Looking for Shearer, who held it up well. Back to Solano. Owen far post. He didn't need him. What a goal! Nobby Solano scores his first goal for Newcastle for 2 years, and what a precious, precious goal that could be.
Well, that's a fantastic strike. We've talked all through the course of this game about Newcastle United's power play, and this is what we've seen here. First and foremost, Alan Shearer bullying Toure and then doing fantastically well just to carve out an opportunity for Nobby Solano. But this is when you're looking for a cool head, you're looking for great technique, and you're looking for a fantastic strike, and you've got all three in that movement, and the goalkeeper's got no chance whatsoever. And what a big goal that could turn out to be for the home side. They've been threatening to do it.
Well, it's all gone off again here in the centre circle. Not quite sure what that was all about, because we haven't even restarted after the goal. Alan Shearer involved.
We'll also better get used to this, because I think more and more sides are going to become very physical against them, especially when they're having to play away from home. And that man will certainly show the physical side. Sometimes he just strays over the line of what's legal and illegal, but he's a real competitor, and he showed great competitive spirit just to get that ball under control and feed Nobby Solano.
Still very ill-tempered here. Now Arsene Wenger certainly will bring Pires on. Flamini, Henry, Ljungberg. Henry's gone for the return. It's Thierry Henry, and it's a very good tackle by Ramage, who's been outstanding.
Well, they need to hang on now. Newcastle United, positive move now from Arsene Wenger, you would expect. I think to try and get something out of the game by throwing on a couple of players that one on the left-hand side has got a lot of pace, and the other one, Robert Pires, has certainly got a lot of quality. But they're paying the price from the chances they missed in the first 45 minutes, Alan. That's the top and bottom of it. And Newcastle have just stuck at it. They've worked hard. And the second half, they certainly got their reward.
Solano, the hero, has now conceded a free kick. And Arsenal have piled just about everyone forward here. Fabregas, the only player they've left back. And he's deep inside the Newcastle half. Shearer with the clearance. And that was a needless challenge by Thierry Henry, not like him. Well, Arsenal's ability to challenge for the league title could be hanging by a thread here.
It's great play from Alan Shearer. You know, he does so well just to keep that ball under control. What a fabulous strike that was from Nobby Solano. Well, he might not have been up off his seat because he's been through a lot of pain so far. And so Fabregas, there's no need to do that. You know, the referee will deal with it. Shearer certainly got up the nose of one or two Arsenal players here this evening.
Double change there by Arsene Wenger. Pires and Quincy Awusu-Abe have come on. 5 minutes to go. Amazing reaction, or lack of reaction, wasn't it, from Graham Souness? Seemed to be saying, what's all the fuss about? I knew we'd score. Ramage forward, Owen in behind the defence. It's Owen! And what a chance to wrap up 3 points.
Well, I think if Michael Owen's match sharp, I think this is 2-0. Because he does brilliantly here just to get control of the football. But I think if he's got that natural sharpness, which understandably he's short of because he's missed games, he's missed training, you know how lethal he is from situations like that.
Well, Graham Souness is 1 match short of his 50th game in charge of Newcastle United in the Premiership. And a lot of people suggested that if they were to lose here today, he might not make it to 50. He's handled all the pressure and all the speculation with great dignity for me. And he deserves the moments of luck his team have enjoyed today. But in the second half, it's been more than luck that's taken them to the brink of a much-needed victory. But only to the brink. Arsenal have got plenty out there now, like Pires, who can still ruin things for the home fans. Shearer with the clearance. Solano, who was in the last Arsenal team, Newcastle team to beat Arsenal a few years ago now. Owen's got away, but this time he's offside.
He's a little bit weary now, isn't he, Michael Owen? Done very well to last this long. I think everybody felt he might just squeeze an hour out of Michael Owen, but we're really going to see the 90 minutes unless Graham decides to substitute him at this late stage.
Henry's offside at the other end.
Was he offside?
He was given offside, let's put it that way. The referee's ignored the flag. Now he's seen it. About 50,000 Geordies telling him.
Well, that ball travelled an awful long way from back to front, and it's very, very tight. That's a big decision. To be fair to the referee's assistant, he might have just got out of jail because Henry's first touch isn't the best, but
I never thought I'd hear that phrase.
no.
It wasn't then, though, you're right. Well, there's what, 2 minutes and a few seconds, plus I would think substantial stoppage time. Shearer, back to Elliott. And the Obi is offside now. And that was a silly thing to do, kicking the ball away, and Lehmann, as ever, is first to lead the complaints.
Busy evening, hasn't it, Dermot Gallagher? Certainly not helped when a lot of the players have been trying to do his job for him.
Clearance by 5. Senderos. Pires with the layoff. Newcastle still winning those 50-50 challenges. Pires. Oh, it's a lovely bit of skill. Ljungberg well placed in the middle, and Boomsong got it away. Owusu Obey doing really well down that left-hand side for Arsenal. Here's the other substitute, Pires. No semblance of defending now. Arsenal have sent the cavalry forward. They had to play with 10 men for over half an hour. As Shearer collides, shall we say, with Senderos and concedes the free kick.
Well, I think the Arsenal players, fans and management team have wondered why it's taken 89 minutes for Alan Shearer to get a yellow card. He's not looking at the ball, he's looking at Senderos.
Newcastle United's number 26, Peter
Well, he might not have the legs to run in the channel anymore, Alan Shearer, but I tell you what, he's still happy to have the physical side.
Away by Boomsong. Solano inadvertently played it back into his own penalty area. Can Arsenal rescue at least a point here, or will their awful away record continue at St James's Park, where they've been so successful over the years, remember? Senderos. Well, this really could be a defining evening for both these clubs. How much stoppage time is the big question. 5 minutes is the answer.
It's not what they wanted to see, was it? So we were hoping maybe 2, maybe 3, but 5.
I would have thought that was about right.
Yeah.
And Obi has lost possession to Pires. But they give up on nothing, these Newcastle players. Collier wins the free kick and breathing space.
1 or 2 up here felt that maybe Graham had lost the dressing room, 1 or 2 of the players, but I tell you what, this performance has put that one to bed. These players have been fully behind him. They've given everything. Scott Parker in particular. You can go right round everybody that's got a black and white shirt on. They've given their all.
Can Arsenal, Brian, afford to lose another game and stay in the hunt?
No, they're out of the title race. I think they were out of the title race before they came here today. But I didn't expect them to be in the title race, I have to say, Alan, because I didn't feel that the squad isn't strong enough to cope with Champions League and Premiership football, certainly not to sustain success. A lot of youngsters that Wenger has had to blood, and they'll come good, and people have to be patient, but he needs to maybe bring in 1 or 2 that are somewhere between his experienced players and his youngsters. that just buys him some time for the next couple of years. One thing they need to get right, though, Alan, they need to deal with the physical side, because the likes of Bolton Wanderers, Newcastle, everybody now are testing them in that department.
The ball was moving there when Lehmann tried to take a quick goal kick. And Mr. Angry has just got a bit angrier.
Coming back to the physical side of Arsenal, that's why Patrick Vieira's a big miss in this side. And as good as he is technically, he was never ever afraid to mix it. He was a big presence at the heart of that Arsenal midfield, and they've lacked that.
Lowry onto Toure. Still 3 minutes for Arsenal to find a goal. Pires. Well played, Amiobi. And that sums up the way Newcastle have approached their second half. Shearer will leave it to the long-legged Amiobi to take it forward here. Long that counter-attack. Toure edges one forward, looking for Henry, away by Boumsong.
Well, this is a big time for the two Newcastle United centre-backs. They've been guilty of making mistakes this season. It's cost their team points. They need to make sure they focus and concentrate and see this through now. What will be a memorable victory if they can pull this one off.
This will be the longest 2 minutes at St James's Park this season, and just to try and make it seem a bit shorter, Graham Souness is going to send Michael Chopra on. And a standing ovation for Michael Owen. Not the best game I've ever seen him play, but his sheer presence always a major factor. There'll be better to come from him, I'm sure, in this young man's career as well. Newcastle on the verge of a massive, massive win. Shearer got caught again.
He knows exactly what he's trying to do, Alan Shearer. He's just inviting people to make reckless challenges against him. Wins his side a free kick. Buys a bit more time. Clever, clever play.
Arsenal haven't lost to Newcastle in the last 10 meetings in League and Cup. Is that record about to end? We're in the final 60 seconds, unless Mr. Gallagher adds a few more on. Amiobi with a towering header. Cleared by Senderos. Bowyer up strongly. Offside, Alan Shearer. I won't mind that too much, but they'll certainly want to keep the ball in this half if they can. Lehmann anxious to retrieve it. And this could be the final throw of the dice for Arsenal. Henry's header, but it's gone straight to the man whose goal could well win the points now. Ramage. The sponsors have given him the man of the match title, by the way. I wouldn't argue with that too much either. He's had a splendid game, and his strength and determination has summed up Newcastle's second half performance.
Well, he's done well, but I think Scott Parker might have had a little bit of a say in that as well, because he would have got my vote.
Yeah, fair point. Elliott. We're into time added on, in time added on. Newcastle United lead 1-0. He knows how important the next few seconds are. Relief for Graham Souness and the Toon Army. It's another away day mishap for Arsene Wenger and Arsenal. Is that, I wonder, the end of Arsenal's title challenge? Is that the beginning of Newcastle's revival? The captain led the way. The manager got the best out of his players here today, and the crowd responded. It took one goal, and the chairman will have cheered that louder than anyone as Nobby Solano found the corner of the net to round off what was a much improved second half performance by Newcastle United. Perhaps the turning point of the game, though, the red card just before the hour mark for Arsenal's Brazilian midfielder Gilberto. The 10 men failed to hold out, and Newcastle here have got a significant victory by 1-0.
Thanks to Alan Parry and to Brian Marwood. It's the first time in 3 years that Arsenal have lost 2 in a row in the Premiership. First time in 5 years they've failed to score in successive games. And those statistics speak for themselves. Top of the Premiership table, Arsenal still in 6th place, 26 from 15, but 17 points behind Chelsea. They have got a game in hand and they play Chelsea at home next weekend. Newcastle climb into the top half, up to 10th. 22 from 16 played, and suddenly their situation looks a little more satisfactory as well. Now, coming up this evening, football first. Blackburn against West Ham is the game of the day. We have match choice as well with Claire Tomlinson. It's all from 8:25 on Sky Sports 1, and the Real Sociedad against Villarreal, 8:30 this evening on Sky Sports Extra. Well, it was something of a battle that Newcastle couldn't really afford to lose, and they have come out on top. We'll have George's thoughts after the break. Nobby Solano turns 31 on Monday. He has every reason to celebrate big time this weekend.
Prem Plus, in association with Bet365.